I'm going to record it. And so I called Goura, and she's the co-creator of the Damanhur School of Alchemy. And I said, look, I have people from different spiritual paths, different experiences. Can you come on a call with us, listen, meet us a little bit, and then see if you can tailor some program so that we can get a taste and get very practical things that we can do to really realize that we are magicians. We have the power to do a lot more than what we think. And so, Goura, accept it. Thank you.
Well, not yet. I accepted this meeting. But let's see what comes. I'm very, very pleased to be here with you tonight. And I'm very happy to see that we are all women. Why? Are we expecting men, or there's none?
You know what? I thought Soleil might come, and Selma might have brought somebody, but they're not on the call. So listen, let's just trust this is what it is for now. But I am recording it, so people, if they want to receive the recording, they can.
I mean, nothing against men, but I'm very happy, to have this feminine public, because this is the epoch of the feminine principle. So also men have feminine principle within. But this is the time where we need to express the most feminine parts. I mean, to heal, to start healing ourselves and to start healing the planet. So, I mean, until today, there's been a lot of male power, male expression. And we are seeing that it doesn't work. No, it's very visible. So let's discover within us the feminine and express it. That's very important in this very epoch. But I would like to start by asking you a brief introduction. Like if you would like to share just your name, I can read it on the screen, but where you are in this very moment, in which continent, where you are now, and your connection, if you have a connection with spirituality. Just a few sentences, very briefly. So shall we start with Elizabeth? That is the first time I see her.
Hi. So as Alessandra said, I'm known as Missy. And I actually watched part of the program a week ago. I was able to watch about the first 45 minutes of the program that you did last weekend. So I got a little bit of background. I'm in Toronto, Canada, very close to where Alessandra lives. We're neighbors. And I would say that I have sensed for many, many years that spirituality has been around me, but I've always been interested, but I've never really known how to delve into it. So I was so excited when I met Alessandra and recognized that was an important thing to her, and that she had some keys to help unlock that for me. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. What about Sonia?
Hi, so I'm Sonia Kuska. I am a friend of Alessandra's. I live in Richmond Hill, close to Toronto in Canada. I've been on a spiritual path for a very long time because of personal trauma histories that many of us experience. Recently, I took a trip to Panama, and I had bought a book a year ago called The Sophia Code, which is all about the divine feminine. So it was interesting that, well, it's a wonderful book.
Okay.
And I did a lot of healing and embodiment of the different female divine archetypes while I was in Panama. But I will also bring up how important it is for us to balance our divine masculine, and that there's a lot of confusion, I think, with our masculine, with our men. And so as much as I focus on we are going to focus on the divine feminine, I do want to acknowledge and bring up the importance of balancing our divine masculine within ourselves, and of course for our men. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Helen.
So it's interesting that you would question that. I'm writing my memoir right now, and as I sat down to write it, I realized that my spiritual journey started in 1975, before you were born, when I joined a women's group and we took mirrors and looked at ourselves, if you know what I mean. So in a circle. And so I've been on this path bouncing, you know, from different modalities, but essentially I have a Tibetan meditation practice. That's what I love, and that's my practice. And I feel very blessed that I've been able to experience all of this, and I'm always open. And so when I came to Damanhur, I had zero idea. I mean, zero what it was going to be like, but Alessandra said, come, and okay, so I went. So I could say that I'm as connected to Damanhur as I am to my Tibetan practice. So I'm very open, and yeah, writing this memoir has really been good for me to see my path, like just how, you know, where I've gone. And it hasn't been straight. There's been a lot of detours, which is what a path is. So I'm very open to what I'm going to hear today. And thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lena.
I'm Lena, and I live in Thornhill, Toronto area, just in the north part of Toronto. And I do work, my practice is with quantum biofeedback, which is using tools for people to get mirrors and feedback from where they're at and whatever their questions are, health-wise and other things. In terms of spirituality, I do remember even age 6, having my first Holy Communion with my little wedding dress.
Yeah.
Right? Going up and getting the host and walking back and saying, he's not here. Jesus isn't here. God isn't here. So I would say I've been seeking my whole life to connect with God's source consciously. And I was about 21 when I learned how to go within and just be there, not in my mind, be there with source. And I endeavor to do that every day for about an hour. Whenever my mind doesn't distract me, and the
mobile phone.
The Antichrist. This is the Antichrist.
Yeah. Is one of the tools of the Antichrist.
One of the tools, and yet I love it. You cannot rip it out of my hands. You rip it out of my cold, dead hands. You know. That's
Thank you, Lena. Eva.
Where do I start? I'm in Vancouver, Canada, on the West Coast, Pacific Ocean. I've been studying metaphysical stuff for quite a while. I'm going to be 84 next month, early.
Oh, wow.
I've studied some native stuff, and I've been given the name of Typhoon Dancer. I've also did quite a bit of studying with an extraterrestrial from Arcturus, who gave me the name of Angel Face.
wow.
And I worked at the library for 40 years. When I retired, I was retired for 10 years, and I shortly after I retired, I had a brain tumor operation. So I was retired for 10 years. And then I fell into a job of managing a big high rise of 234 units, 24/7 on call for 13 years. And when I retired at 80, I went on a trip to Peru, which was really awesome. And that same year, I came to Damanhur with Alessandra, and everything died after that. 2 years ago, I wanted to go to my second dolphin swim with nature dolphins in Hawaii, but that was canceled. So I don't know when I'll be able to do that. I've done things like fire walking, and I've done spoon bending. I was a member of Questers for a while, and so I've tried a lot of things, but I'm a master of none.
Thank you, Eva. Alessandra, well, you want to say something?
All I want to say is that before I came to Damanhur, of course, I was meditating. Probably I'm a late bloomer, so Missy, probably just a little bit ahead of you. But when I came to Damanhur, something clicked, because spirituality was very practical. And then they all dress so nicely, and I'm Italian, so I'm biased, And I was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't have to be Birkenstock and meditating. Like, it can be beautiful and good food, good wine. And I'm like, I'm in. And then the spiritual physics book hooked me. I was like, you guys are absolutely nuts, but I love it. This is like opening up switches in my brain. And then I'm now in the school of meditation, and I bring people to Damanhur. So yes, but I would say you guys were, for me, an ignition, definitely to explore deeper. And what I loved is that it challenged me on a mental level to understand the structure of, spirituality, where it comes from, and this origin that is so elegant, so simple. So yeah, I became quite excited about what I was learning there. So there I am.
Thank you all for sharing. Well, I've been living in Damanhur for 21 years. And for me, Damanhur was love at first sight. So when I came here the very first time as a visitor to visit the temples, as soon as I entered in the temples, I just fell in love. And I was resonating so much that I decided to stay. So since then, I never left. But when I arrived, I didn't know anything about Damanhur. Well, something about spirituality, yes. But I didn't really know what I was looking for at that time. And I recognize it by landing here. So then I became a student in alchemy and rituality with Falco, the main founder of Damanhur. But before we enter deeper into, a general introduction of Damanhur, of Falco, who he was, the goals, why Damanhur is here, I would like to show you a very brief video of 4 minutes that summarizes, the very essence of Damanhur. I know that the majority of you know Damanhur already, but I would like to, to give some hints to the new people that do not know anything about us. And I found this video just, because I was looking for something to show you. Although Alessandra told me, no, I want you to talk. Yes, I'm going to talk, but I want to show you. I found this video that is very beautiful that I forgot that it existed. And also you, Alexandra, probably you've never seen it. And I'm going to share the screen.
Hold on, I have to make.
Can you make me?
Yeah.
co-host, yes.
Co-host. And then I should put you on the full screen, huh? Yeah, so I'll spotlight you. No, and I think, yeah, when we talked about it and you said you were going to share this, I find that Damanhur is a perfect example or practical alchemy.
Mm.
You know, so that's why I think this is valuable, because it's when people are very conscious of doing alchemy, this is the kind of things they can create. So I think it's a great example to show. So should we, okay, you should be able to share.
Let me see. Yes. Mm-mm.
So I'm just admitting Claire and I'll just tell her.
35,000 years ago, all over the world, the great creative revolution began. It was still the Ice Age. Suddenly, humans began to create art, dance, music, ritual. It was as if a divine spark of creativity had suddenly descended upon humanity to help us to reconnect with the source of all creation. Still today, art, dance, music, and ritual are the most powerful creative instruments to awaken to the divine in each of us. It is to this awakening that the people of Damanhur have dedicated the temples of humankind, a great work of art carved by hand into the rock in the heart of a mountain in northern Italy. The temples are a monumental artistic endeavor, a sacred container of devotion and pure ideals. This inspiring work, carried out by hand in secret for the first 16 years, was an impossible dream. Yet every meter dug into the rock, every touch of the paintbrush, every new piece of glass or mosaic gave the Damanhurians the desire and the courage to continue. Today, the temples are a powerful antenna, consciously built on a meeting point of synchronic lines, the cosmic rivers of energy that connect all life. They receive and spread flows of information and energy that vibrationally guide the evolution of souls, peoples, and planets. The temples are a living book of knowledge. Every architectural detail, every angle and form has a meaning and follows a precise code of shapes and proportions. A journey through the different halls, their colors, shapes, and symbols, is an immersion into the sacred wisdom of the past and the future, brought to life through the arts. It is a healing journey to remind us how much richness and power lay within the human spirit. The temples of humankind are a medicine for the soul. Look at these images. Listen to these sounds. Let the divine spark of creativity within you recognize its own power, shine its own light. Hall of water, dedicated to the sacred feminine, the goddess, to memory and the cycles of life. Hall of metals, dedicated to our journey through life, to transformation and the quest for knowledge, wisdom, and transcendence. Hall of victory, dedicated to Mother Earth and her richness, to time and to an awakened future. Hall of the Earth, dedicated to the sacred masculine, to the power of volcanoes and the inner core of the earth, to memory and the journey of consciousness within the universe. Hall of the Lamp, dedicated to a new harmony and balance of all the divine forces of humanity, of all kinds and all fields. Hall of Spheres, dedicated to inner alchemy, to the inner quest of the Grail, to the mastery of our life force. Hall of Mirrors, dedicated to light, to universal spirituality, to the awakening of the divine principle within every molecule of man. Time of people, dedicated to a new era of respect and harmony amongst all peoples of the past and the future, of the earth and the cosmos. Feel the divine within you. Feel yourself as a divine being, connected to the whole web of life, walking in beauty of consciousness, finding our way back to love, hope, and unity. Together, we can create a new story and a new future for the awakening of all humanity. "35,000 years ago, all over the world, the great creative revolution began.
Sorry.
It was still the Ice Age.
Beautiful. Yeah, I hadn't seen this version. No, this is very sweet.
So Damanhur was born.
Goura, hold on a
Yeah.
second. There's Claire that just popped in. Claire, do you guys want to just introduce yourself? Are you there? Hold on. I see them. If you show your video, if you want to show yourself just to say hello. Okay, when you're able. Okay, you want to say a few words? No, you can't hear them. Okay,
She's not there yet, maybe.
Yeah, they're showing up if they come in. So they're also two lovely. They're in Panama actually. But I think quite aware. They're on some spiritual path of their own. So they're not new to all of this. To Damanhur, yes, but not to spirituality. Sorry, Goura, go ahead. Sorry.
So Damanhur was inspired by Falco. Falco is the main founder. Hello, Claire. Claire, and would you like to introduce yourself? We cannot hear you. There's no...
No, that's okay. They're probably where they are. Might be problem. But it's the two of them, Laura and Claire. So they're in Panama. Yes.
Hello.
Hello, nice
Hello,
to meet
Panama.
you.
Hello, Panama.
No, there's no audio.
Yeah, that's okay.
Can you hear us though?
Yeah, just give us a thumbs up or in the chat.
Now they are connecting the audio.
Okay, Bella, you can continue. I think they're trying again to connect. Okay.
So Falco, the main founder of Damanhur, is a man that believed very strongly in his dreams, and he wanted to, to gather the right people to create a different and alternative way of living. So when he started his dream, he was in his 20s. And at that time, he had a center in Turin called the Aarhus Center. And he was giving conferences there on many different topics. Mainly, he was focusing on paranormal activities. Because, Falco, since he was a child, he explored, he lived many paranormal abilities. He was expressing paranormal abilities. And since he was little, I mean, he started healing his friends through his hands. He was doing many, well, he was contacting entities, spirits through Ouija boards. And he started very early doing all these things. And when he was in his 20s, well, he decided he had, at that time, he was a broker, you know, he was selling insurances to people. Did you know that, Alessandra?
No.
He was the best broker in Italy. The
Wow.
best one, number one. And he decided through the center in Turin to start creating researchers groups, so groups of research, where together with other people, he could go deeper into different fields. So then he became, from paranormal activities, he became a hypnotherapist. He became a prana healer, and he created a prana healing school since then. And that was, I'm talking about 1970, 1975. And through all these people that he was able to gather in the center in Turin, he then decided to share the idea of creating a new reality. And well, the people he shared with this idea, this dream, were people that were researching with him. So a bunch of people, 7, 8 people. And there he said, I mean, he shared with them that he was coming from the future, and that he came back in time. So he reincarnated in this very epoch because he's been in the future. He already lived the future 600 years ahead of us. And he saw that humanity destroyed itself again. So the idea of Falco was to come back in time in this very epoch, to find a bunch of crazy people and to create a different timeline. So a different plane of existence, a different timeline, to manifest in practice a different reality, to be able to arrive to that point of time in the future, 600 years ahead of us, having created a different timeline, to be able to substitute the timeline we are living in. So the timeline that the majority of us are living in. So can you imagine Falco sharing this to this bunch of people that they were not aware of nothing about that? And so he said to these people, I mean, can you help me to do that? Would you like to do that? Could it be this dream? I mean, could this dream of mine be yours too? So they started, well, these people said yes, and they started looking for the right location where to establish Damanhur. And one of the very first researches they conducted was to find out, I mean, to rediscover a very ancient knowledge, the knowledge connected to the synchronic lines, to be able to map again all the synchronic lines of the planet and to find out the most energetic spots on this earth. Because for those who don't know what the synchronic lines are, Synchronic lines are energy, rivers of energy that are wrapping our planet. And they play a very, very important role because, well, imagine that there's many different lines flowing horizontally and vertically, wrapping the entire planet. They all connect to the poles, and from the poles, they connect our planet to different planets where life exists. And through these lines, there's a constant exchange of information. So they started traveling in different places of the planet to map, to find out all these lines. And they found out few spots where 4 main synchronic lines met. These spots are very, very energetic spots. And well, in these areas, there's, let's say that the energy available to be able to connect is more. And that's why Damanhur was born exactly here, and the temples of humankind were built exactly in the middle of these 4 lines. Because as you heard from this video, I mean, the temples, they are a magnificent structure, building, where is a living library, you know, where through art we tell many stories connected to the human soul, to our divine soul. But they are also a huge antenna. So to connect, to be able to connect to different planets, to different dimensions, and to connect to different live beings here and beyond in the entire universe. So Falco, to be able to, let's say, to continue to attract people interested in this project, he elaborated many myths. So his teachings and his discoveries were transmitted through myths. And Damanhur basically is based on myths, stories, mythical stories.
Oh, myths, you mean myths? Okay,
yes.
stories. Okay.
Mythical stories, they are telling about, you know, telling about the real nature of ourselves, the missions of humanity. So he had a great capacity to tell stories, and he told us stories for more than 40 years. So, and basically one of the, I can share with you one of, well, there's many mythical stories, but the one around which Damanhur was created is the story of the broken mirror. So the story of the broken mirror compares consciousness to a mirror, okay? And that mirror at a certain point broke into splinters. So consciousness decided, let's say oneness, which is the nature of our soul, of our human soul, decided to have a new experience in a different dimension. So coming from, let's say, the stars, the universe, and entering this physical dimension, this oneness, consciousness divided into fragmented into tiny piece of consciousnesses. So the mirror broken and entered in many living beings. So these consciousness that we call, let's say we call the Rio in Damanhur, is pure intelligence, oneness, decided to enter and fragmented in this dimension to be able, through this experience in the physical, to recompose itself, but with an extra value, with the addition of this experience that is doing in the physical dimension. So let's say that in our Damanhurian philosophy, this divine spark that not only humans are hosting is the consciousness distributed all over. Let's say that everything in this plane of existence, this physical dimension, is consciousness. Everything, not only humans, animals, plants, host this piece of consciousness, but also objects. But we have all a different awareness of it. Let's say that the human species is the species that has this memory more at a surface. So we remember better than other species to host this consciousness. And that's why we play a very fundamental role in the recomposition of the oneness here in this physical dimension. So to be able to evolve, at least according to our philosophy, humans need to reconnect within, so to reestablish an inner communication with your divine spark, but also at the same time to reconnect with others, with other humans, with the plant world, with the animal world, with the mineral world, with many different pieces of consciousnesses. Otherwise, we won't be able to attain a higher level of evolution. And you know, the universe is working through complexity. This is one of the laws of the universe. To keep expanding itself, it needs to add to itself more and more complex experiences. So oneness, let's say that is, to also oneness and consciousness, the greater consciousness, to move forward needs to perceive its own creation, so us in this physical dimension, through the infinite forms it inhabits, to recreate itself with an extra value as well. So spiritual and material are one. They cannot be separated, at least until we are here in this physical dimension. And the spiritual work needs to be done here in connection with other forces. Now I was talking about all the, everything is permeated by consciousness in this dimension. But then we also have larger multidimensional forces that are bigger consciousnesses that are what we call gods. So consciousness is everywhere, is everywhere simultaneously and at different levels of awareness. So we human beings are pretty aware of this presence. And more than ever in this very epoch, because this very epoch is the epoch connected to the great awakening of humanity. And after COVID, I might say that this awakening is going faster, quicker, and is very, very evident. That's why there's also the very evidence of negative forces working against it. Because light is spreading more and more. Therefore, there's also forces that are not working towards human evolution and the evolution of our species, but also of the universe. So that's why many negative forces and influences are also manifesting at the same time. So we humans, we have the ability to connect material and spiritual dimension, because our soul that comes from the star, this piece of consciousness, is here in this physical body, in this vehicle, to have a new experience, to reconnect on a higher level to that spiritual dimension that we are part of. So like us, there's many other species that are hosting this consciousness. And there's also specific species that are more aware than others of hosting it. Few examples are, for example, animal species like dolphins, like whales, like elephants, giraffes, seals.
Cats.
Sorry?
Cats.
Cats. I don't know about cats.
Oh, yes.
But in
yes.
our list, let's say, the more aware species of hosting this consciousness are the ones that I'm mentioning. And there's still many that we haven't discovered yet. But those are some of them. And we have a very, very long and glorious past as humans. So the history, the human history that we know, that was taught to us at school, is very, very different from the one from what really happened. Is very, very different. And well, in Damanhur, we have also courses about ancient civilizations, talking about our glorious past as humans, where we expressed fully, the capacity, the abilities of our soul that we've lost in time. So this human soul that we host is very present in many forms, not only on these planets, but also all over the universe. So there's many intelligent species out there in the universe hosting the same soul we host. So we call it human soul. I mean, in our philosophy, but because it entered this physical dimension and on this planet is very, very present, but it belongs to past civilizations, galactic civilizations that have lived and still live in the universe. So let's say that in a point in time, our planet has been isolated for thousands of years from intelligent worlds and other intelligent species inhabiting the universe. Until until the synchronic lines, so these energy lines that are still connecting us to the universe, were liberated. So, and where, I mean, since then it was possible again to have a deeper contact again with other forces in the universe. Let's say that we belong, I mean, our planet, the Earth, belong to a galactic alliance that is fighting for the expansion of life, okay? And is working against all the forces of entropy, working against evolution. It's a very, very ancient battle that we are playing. And it has been done several times. It's not the first time that we are involved as humans in this very battle. It's an epic battle. And through, let's say that through when our consciousness, when the piece of the greater consciousness enters in these vehicles, our body, we've lost the memory of being divine beings. And that was, let's say that we've lost a battle, one of these magical battles that we participated all over the millennia. And by losing the battle, we've lost the memory. So, and together with the memory, we've lost also many spiritual powers and abilities that we used to have. So the spiritual path, let's say, at least from our perspective, and I'm not saying that is the truth, is one of the many perspectives. But from a Damanhurian perspective, evolution, I mean, the only possible way humans can evolve is to regain the memory of being divinities, of being divine sparks, is again is a connection, a reconnection and a rediscovery, a retraining process to regain all these lost abilities, and at the same time to reconnect to life at all levels. So life here on this planet and life out there. So this period, this very epoch in human history, is a great opening to spiritual growth, is a huge opportunity for more people to become aware again of who we really are and to start working towards it. And to work towards evolution, it means to choose. This is the very first thing. So is to choose to undergo a spiritual process to be able to regain, but material, I mean, practically, to regain the memory of who we are and to be divine beings. I mean, to be. To not to be, I mean, to be every single day, to manifest it in every tiny action. And this is the process, I mean, this is the core principle. I mean, human not only human evolution, to work for complexity, to reach a higher understanding of what consciousness is, and for consciousness, for the greater consciousness to recognize itself at a different level through us, through the experience that all of us are doing here, is the mission of Damanhur. I mean, this is our mission. So to do all this work, what was needed was also to reconnect to what we call the spiritual ecosystem, that ecosystem that is made of forces, energies, divine beings, let's say divine consciousnesses, because this process goes together. Material and spiritual needs to go together. If one of the two aspects are not there, is not possible. I mean, at least from our perspective. And by doing this, by creating such a reality as Damanhur, and people devoted, devoting time, energy, lives to this mission, is to be able at a certain point to give such density to this new timeline that we are creating, to be able to make the other timeline collapse at a certain point of the process, to avoid the destruction, to avoid again the destruction of humanity. So this is the principle of light working towards evolution, and the entropic forces going against. That is nothing about it. It has nothing to do about opposites, okay? Do not confuse them with the opposites that we contain, duality, because duality, the duality we are experiencing here in this dimension, is what is one of the opportunities we have to give birth to life again. If we wouldn't contain, polarities within us, we wouldn't understand the value of both and the effects of both. And we couldn't, understand the differences. So polarities are there to make us understand that they can work together in balance to recreate oneness, to experience it again. So these very strong forces that are working towards light and towards darkness are very present in these very moments. And I'm sure you've seen them. I'm sure you've seen them. And everything, reached a very high level of evidence during COVID. And we're going to see many things, many new things in a very short period of time. From what we are already seeing, but wars or natural cataclysms, or huge events that will have a great impact on all of us. If you have any question or anything you would like to share, I would love to I mean, not to talk for the entire time we have, but to have an interactive, you know, communication with you. Bye, Alessandra.
Oh, is there a, no, there's a tail. So Goura, well, first let me see if somebody else wants to go, because this was a lot. Some people might have heard this before in different ways, but some might have not. So my question is, this rich ecosystem that we also need to connect with, is that, my understanding is that through some of the courses you do in alchemy, it's all about remembering how to use this ecosystem so that we can increase our knowledge of the vast world around us. And that is one way that we contribute to this raising of complexity, this raising of awareness, because just walking in a forest and saying it's beautiful, it's one level, but walking in a forest and energetically connecting or doing whatever you do in alchemy is very different, because there's a deeper awareness of what you're doing. And yeah, so, and maybe you can bring that in if nobody else has questions or things that they want to share.
Well, Damanhur is an alchemical laboratory as a whole. So let's say that one of the many definitions that I love about alchemy is that alchemy is the living art of becoming gods again. So is the game of that we can play to become gods and goddesses again. Is a living art and is a very practical art. But I would like to start to maintain the attention to Damanhur as a whole, as an alchemical laboratory, because, and then I will step into the individual alchemy. Because Damanhur, in Damanhur, alchemy has always been present since the very beginning. So let's say that all the people that are the Damanhurian people that have chosen to undergo such a process of transformation, they are all the components, the diversity that needs to be reconnected to create a collective consciousness in this physical dimension. So in this very epoch, in Damanhur, we do not think that it's possible to reach, I mean, to reach such a conscious level of one individual to have an impact. I mean, to change the course of history, to make a huge, I mean, to have an impact on the planet as a whole. So Damanhur was born to create, by the people belonging to the spiritual process of Damanhur, to create a collective consciousness. And we need to integrate. We need to connect diversity, and we need to make experiences together to regain also the memory that everything is connected in the universe. I mean, we have this perception because we are perceiving through duality here in this physical dimension that all forms, all objects or living forms in these, let's talk about this planet, are disconnected from one another, but it's not. We're part of the same soul, as I said before. I mean, we're part of the same greater soul, the human soul. So alchemy is a way, is a very practical process to do this, but to experience it, not to do it theoretically. So we have in Damanhur, but on the planet, there's already great knowledges available everywhere to spiritually grow, okay? I find, and that's why I fell in love with alchemy, because I'm very practical. So what I loved about this art is that I've been going through a 15 years experiences that changed me a lot within. And also by changing, within, I've changed completely the perception of the reality surrounding me. Because the reality each one of us perceive is the reality that you interpret through your senses, mainly your physical senses, because we're mainly using only physical senses, but we have many more. But because we've been trained to use only these senses, we've lost the capacity to use other senses to perceive reality. So let's say that there's many reality, there's as many realities as many humans exist on this planet. So there's not one reality, there's billions of reality. So I have my own, Lena has hers, Eva hers, and they're all different, and they're all part of the same oneness. But to perceive oneness, we need to work. I mean, it's like going to the gym again. I've been teaching alchemy for the last 7 years, so I'm still a student, and I'm a teacher, and I'm learning while I'm teaching, because alchemy touches every field of life. Okay, so everything, it touches everything, is the magical art of everything. And so collectively here in Damanhur, we've been using alchemy and magic. I mean, alchemy is a part of magic. We've been using it in the for the first, let's say, 25 years of Damanhur, to produce all the substances, the magical instruments that we use to perform ceremonies. So ceremonies, collective ceremonies, are main tools in Damanhur to be able to connect to divine forces collectively. But then in this past, I'm counting 2006, so 15 years. In these past 15 years, alchemy became also individual. So using individual tools to reconnect individually to higher forces, to yourself, and to all beings on this physical dimension, by using very practical tools and to experience in person what you can do through this reconnection. And so by, let's say that by using alchemical tools, you are able to widen not only your knowledges, theoretical knowledges, but your in-person experiences, to grow spiritually and to start perceiving reality differently. That's why the core principle of the spirit of any spiritual process, at least any spiritual process focusing on human evolution, is to transform yourself. You cannot think to manage, I mean, to deal with forces and energies outside of you if you are not able to guide your internal forces and energies before. I mean, it could work because magic work in any, I mean, it works. Magical tools, rituals, I mean, those are instruments and technologies that humanity have developed throughout human history to enter in contact with different dimensions, with different divine forces and energies. But if you use them as tools to, I mean, to broaden your perception, I mean, is a more balanced growth. Because when I'm talking about magic, also alchemy is part of magic, and instruments that we use to perform, to create things that in nature do not exist, with intention, with purpose. I mean, to do things, to manifest things. I forgot what I wanted to tell you. It's gone.
So Goura, then from you, what is a good, I mean, if we're beginners, you know, some of us here are beginners, some of us have more experience, what do you see would be some of the more practical exercises or practical things we can learn so that we can start to expand our awarenesses and start to play with these elements, that this rich spiritual ecosystem, so that we can experience magic, you know, truly in the sense of, you know, it's one thing to talk
when
about.
I'm talking about magic, I do not mean only, you know, to perform magical things like rituals or using specific tools, you know, to create things. But for me, magic, I mean, life is magic. So when I, yes, just, I mean, to wake up in the morning and to be very satisfied and happy about your life, about what you are doing, and you're feeling connected with other beautiful beings that are happy too, you know, that they are feeling positive emotions most of the times, they do not complain. I mean, you can create magical things every day. So I want you to think about magic, not only, I mean, to connect to greater reservoirs of energy and knowledge, but also in your daily and practical life. I mean, to be enchanted by, I don't know, the sun that is rising in the morning is magic. To be captured by the beauty of nature is magic. But we humans, I mean, in this very epoch and more, because our culture, our Western culture and the society we're living in is, you know, pushing more and more towards a very, very stressful and mechanical life. Okay. Where you do not realize that you are alive anymore. You run, you know, from your house to your workplace, then you take care of family, of children, and then you go on holiday to rest from your life because it's too stressful. Yes, you take a break from your own life. So this is not magical at all, but
So
this is the life of the average human on this planet.
Yeah.
So to bring magic in your life is, first of all, to be very present to yourself, to your power of creation, to direct your energies towards what you want to manifest. and not to give strength and energy to what you don't want. It means to stop complaining. It means to stop talking about negatively about others. And this is, I mean, only this will have a great impact on the perception you have on your reality. And also it will have a great impact on others. Because what I've experienced by going through this alchemy process is that humans, me, myself, I need to take responsibility for how I manifest every single minute. But I've realized that I'm mostly working mechanically, automatically. So we've lost the ability, for example, to choose the emotions we want to manifest in a situation. So I give you a practical example. You know, sometimes when we find ourselves, for instance, in a situation where we got irritated, that is, it has a negative impact on us, we get angry for something, we normally react by, you know, reacting most of the times in the same manner. So if we feel negativity within, we express towards others negativity. If we become angry, whoever we have around us, you know, when we are angry, we manifest, we express that energy, even though we do not manifest it in words. And by manifesting this way from the people around you, you will have, you know, a similar feedback, creating a chain, you know, a chain of negativity, of irritation, of anger, of fear, of, you know, you create a chain by this, in this way. By becoming responsible and choosing consciously how you want to act and not react, even though you're experiencing a very painful situation or irritating situation, you choose consciously to act by smiling and understanding that the people or the person that irritated you didn't do it on purpose. That was the best he could do in that very moment with his own inner world. And you just accept it because that person is doing his best, you are doing your best. We need to start accepting ourselves. That is the starting point of a process, of a spiritual process. To welcome and accept all the parts we are made of that you might consider positive or negative, however they are, you need to accept them willingly, because if you contain them, they are there to show you something. So a magical approach to life is to approach towards everything like a researcher, like a student. You are here, you know, doing your life course through the experiences you have to learn. Any experience you are encountering.
Okay.
Everything that happens is synchronous, is synchronic. Because if you start knowing how the universe works, how the laws are working, you will have the capacity in time to work with these laws in your individual universe and to make them fruitful for you. So synchronicity so let's start from the principle that nothing happens by chance. Okay. Also, this group, I mean, we are here together for sure for a purpose. Then it will be our choice to, to decide, to discover what the purpose is, or just to continue our life, normally without considering this meeting.
No, I'm going to challenge you here. If nobody else is going to say something, I'm going to say something. So okay. I want a clarification.
Yeah.
So does anybody have a question? Because this doesn't, no, is everybody okay? Show me if you, no, okay. So I'm just going to ask this. So thank you about the personal, control to react and the alchemical opportunity to change a reaction instead of just knee-jerk reaction to a situation of anger. Perfect. That's I'm probably need to.
That's pure alchemy.
Okay, I fail completely at this, but that's okay. It's my Italian nature. But what do we do in the situation that we find ourselves in? And here I'm talking with like-minded people, where we are bombarded by this, what do you call it? This anti-life
principle, yeah.
Anti-life principle, where it is not impacting us so far because we've managed to go. But what do you do with that? I mean, yeah, I want to be informed and stay on top of it, but I also realize the negative impact it has emotionally on me. I feel like, some of us here have felt PTSD from this craziness. So what is then the bigger tools to manage this kind of impact in our lives? What can we do alchemically to help us navigate that? Because that would be fabulous, You guys, give me a hands up if that would be good for you guys. Your hands up, hands up. Give me because this was beautiful, but it was, Mama, this is heavy today. Mama, the Goura is usually a fun ball. This one's like, okay.
No, I think that, it's something probably that you are already doing, but it can be implemented to create a group, first of all. So to be part of a greater system. So you are a group. I know that some of you are doing things together, but to enlarge a group and to become a group and to work together, the group that, the energy of the group that you can create will support and implement the individual process for each one of you, and will implement also the synchronicity you might have. You can experience, some magical synchronicities if you start working as a group.
Okay, so maybe that's the course we do. Guys, we're just exploring here. I thought we were going to come in and it was going to be, this course, this thing, this now, but this feels much more, we're in the process of discovering something here, because there's a group forming very naturally of like-minded people that have, we've been sustaining ourselves, through this chaos. But maybe to work more consciously could be an interest. Anyways, just some ideas, guys. I'm just, please, chime in.
I like the idea of learning new skills. We are very fortunate to have had a group to sustain us, but it didn't mean it was easy. There were months, as you point out, Alessandra, where, my energy was rock bottom. And wouldn't it be great if as a group we could develop the skills that whatever is thrown at us, that we have the capability of managing ourselves more narrowly in the more positive area than the ground falling out from beneath us. That would be a lovely, beautiful thing that we helped each other to do.
And also, we know they're not on the call, but there's, well, Claire and Laura they're in Panama. So we also have the beauty of being very expanded. You know, there's people also in Mexico that didn't come on, but I know would be, and I don't know if we can use that the bigger landscape, if we can use that field to create even more energy, because we're not all central in one area, but we're just, around sort of apart. So anything you can share with that would be really helpful.
So tell me, I ask you something. Can you tell me, please? I mean, some of you, one of you, some of you, if you can tell me the quality of your life depends on what?
Okay. I love learning.
Hey, for
Depends
me,
on
love and connection, it means a lot.
Love and connection, you said?
Yep.
I think it depends on the perception of how you see the world.
Well, that for sure. See?
Yes.
But, we are humans are, how do you say it in English, Alessandra? Una specie gregaria. So humans, gregaria means that we are working better together. We can reach higher things together. Okay.
That's very true, because I wouldn't have been able to firewalk without the group support on my own.
So the quality of our life is very connected to the connection we have, first of all, with ourselves. Secondly, with others. So if you're able to establish a loving, harmonious relationship with yourself, you're going to create same things around you. And that is an example, that is a huge example that any of us can give to others, in spite of the difficult situations we're going through, in spite of everything, despite of everything. So, and that is the alchemist. An alchemist is a person that work on the planet, I mean, to produce positive effects, but is not of the planet. Yeah.
What do you mean? Elaborate.
I mean that the alchemist needs to learn to have a detached approach to the physical dimension, by knowing that is not the only dimension is participating in. So here, for sure, we need to produce positive effects and have a positive impact on our lives first by changing ourselves, and consequently on others. Everything that is surrounding us is transforming gold. I mean, it's transforming everything into gold, into light. That's what the alchemist of this very epoch does. So medieval alchemists were transforming physically metals into gold, poor metals into noble metals. But the alchemist of this epoch is the one who transforms his own perception of reality to be able to transform everything around him. So it means to always to manifest light. So what I suggest, I mean, to be very practical, I was thinking about, that Alessandra and I were talking about
I just wanted to say there was a comment here, and I don't know if Sama is not able to talk, but
I
she
didn't
made
hear
a
about
comment.
how we're working at
Or
this
Sama,
time.
can you say something? Can you say, or do you want me to read your comment?
Sorry, I missed my reminder about this gathering, so I joined late. Yeah, you're talking about which comment, Alessandra, the one about the
Community, the
various
conscious
groups?
community.
Yeah, well, you know, as I totally agree with Goura that we all live in our own reality. They just happen to be overlapping realities, you know, and that sometimes I forget how fantastic my reality is until someone reminds me of things, you know, by sharing stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
so it's like, I don't even think about it because I've been on like a conscious spiritual path in this lifetime for, you know, more than 45 years. And so that's just my norm. Like it
Right.
doesn't always come to my attention to sort of question it. Like if you're always swimming in the ocean, you don't think about what it's like not to be in the ocean. So, you know, so I'm just agreeing with, you know, what she's saying, and I'm just grateful.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you had the opportunity to make your comment. Sorry, good. I didn't mean to.
I have a question.
Yes. You
So,
are
Tammy.
Tim?
Tammy. Yes.
Tammy.
Sorry for being late. But I wonder about children, and I came in late, so I don't know if you talked about it. But I always wonder if young children are connected to that ecosystem on a deeper level than adults. Because, well, two things. I remember my youngest son, I could have sworn that he was reading my mind, that I wouldn't say things and he would just ask me questions or make comments about things that I was thinking. And then I find whenever I'm around young children, they just lift my spirit. And I feel like there's magic in the room when there are small children in a room. So I'm just wondering about that.
Yes, children, they are much, much more connected than us. And I totally agree with what you said. Actually, children, you know, when we were children, we were perceiving much more than today. Is the process we've been undergoing through culture, through education, through the environment we've been in, that created in us a huge structure that is not allowing us anymore to perceive things on a deeper level. So in this very epoch, we've been connected a lot to our mind, to our mental parts. But we're not made only by the mind. I mean, we have a very intelligent body, physical body. We have a heart. We have a second brain, which is our intestine. We have energetic bodies. We have rivers of energy flowing through us. And we don't use all this because we've been, let's say, we've been put in a box through the culture we received, through the programming we received. So we are in a cage right now. So also these awareness of, you know, to recognize, to become aware that we've been enslaved, that we are slaves, okay, is the great start. I mean, to become aware that you are not a free being is the start of the process. But you need to acknowledge this. So children, their purity and their, you know, non-structure, because I mean, until they are, let's say the first 7 years of life are the most important, is the most important piece of our life, because that those first 7 years is what is giving us, let's say, the foundation, the base of our life process. And if you think how, I mean, also we educate children I mean, we do it the way we know that we've learned through our parents, through our background. But with the education that Westerners are giving to their children is the start of the enslavement. We're not aware of that.
Yeah.
So children, I mean, from our perspective, when you have a child, I mean, you are a mother. I mean, mothers, children, they are coming here, they choose us. These souls that they incarnate on this planet choose their parents to make them undergo a process, a spiritual process. They are teaching us. It's not the opposite way. And this happens especially in the first years of life. But they came here to teach us for a specific amount of time, because then, of course, they need to be free to decide their own path. So they have a frame of time, which is mostly 18 years, more or less, the first 18 years, in which their mission is to invite parents, I mean, through their way of being, to invite parents to understand again things, how they work. And what we do is to respond to them by educating them, enslaving them. So this is a different perspective that I want to give you, because really I can tell you that the world is really messed up. We've been doing exactly the opposite things we would need to do as evolved beings. So me too, when I'm living with 3 little children, I'm living in that house because of them, not because of the adults. Because of them, because they're constantly teaching me. In my community, we have 3 children, one of 3 years old and one of 4. And they are the spirit, they are the essence of our place. So all our energies are around them constantly. So that's the mission of children, you know, not to, let's say, to guide us in this experience, but we do not listen. The average human do not listen. We think, especially parents, we think that we need to tell them the right way, how to behave, what to do, etc. They have their own mission, soul mission, okay? So for the first years of life, their soul mission is to teach parents. I mean, to teach, I mean, that they arrived, you gave birth to them for them to make you learn something. But then when this frame of time expire, they need to go. I mean, we need to let them go completely and to follow their own path, whatever it is. There's no right and wrong. Each soul, also we have our own mission. And to find our own mission, we've been probably, and we will go through many different experiences to understand which is the mission. And if you ever find your mission, you are a very lucky person, because the majority of humans do not find any mission in life. It's true. At least it's what I see. In my reality is what I see.
Goura, I have a question.
Yeah.
a bunch of us have been trying to have been pondering this for a little bit. What is it about us, people here, and our other like-minded friends that has made it so blatantly clear what's going on in the world right now, whereas there are other people in our lives that even when we show them what's going on, it goes right past them. They don't see it. What is there a particular quality that we have? Are we further along in our progression? Do you have any sense of what that is?
That's a question.
It's your soul experiences. So we are, I mean, our soul experienced many different lives. Okay, so when you, it depends on the level of awareness of your soul. And each one of us has its own level of awareness. So for people, I mean, for certain people, what is needed is to undergo more experiences. I mean, to awake, to understand, because it's not the right time. I mean, everybody awakes at his own right time. It's not possible before, because the awakening is a matter of becoming aware, conscious. So when you are in consciousness, manifests itself when you are ready. It cannot, otherwise it won't be consciousness. You cannot define it as consciousness. So it's true that we went through, I mean, the COVID situation speed up a lot the process of awakening or enslaving. It depends on how you approach to this. And how many, I mean, also the experiences that your soul brought here in this very lifetime. It depends on the level of awareness of your soul experiences, of your previous soul experiences.
So then I have a follow-up question to that, or maybe it's obvious. We've all been encouraged to help others that don't see to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And based on what you're saying, that it's a waste of time unless that person is ready to see it. They're not going to see it. And that's so case in point, I was with my sister-in-law the other night, and she was on her way to go get her 5th shot. And I sent her some information, and she's never gotten back to me to say, too bad, so sad, I'm going ahead, or thank you very much, or please don't ever send anything like that to me again. Nothing. So I'm thinking, was that the smart thing to do, or should I have just let it die and let her carry on? We all wonder whether or not we should be trying to make others aware, or is that just a waste of time?
Yeah, that was a good question. Thank you.
Yes, but there's no one who can tell you this except for yourself. Because we need to also, in the process of regaining our abilities, we need to regain a more, let's say, a more correct perception of reality, but through our hearts. Okay. So I know that, you know, it's difficult sometimes to leave behind dear people, friends, or family, because you see that they're not at your level of understanding or seeing things. Okay. You should know if and when is the moment to let go or to continue. No one can tell you this. No one. But from my personal experience, let's say that, for example, I've been brought up in a very Catholic environment. So my parents, Italian Catholicism. So they've been trying to convince me, I mean, to be a Catholic throughout my entire life. Okay. So for the first 18 years, when I was living with them, they were, you know, pushing a lot, but my soul didn't respond to that, never. So I decided to, you know, to explore other spiritual paths. And then when I saw, well, I've been here in Damanhur for 22 years, and my mother still, she feels that I'm doing very wrong things. Okay, by being here in this reality, like, but also now I'm saying wrong things, but she defines, I mean, like, I'm worshiping the devil, you know, from her perspective, being a Catholic. So I liberated from all that. I mean, I let go. My mother, she cannot understand. I mean, she would never probably understand. So as far, and when I understood this, I've stopped convincing her that I was doing something beautiful. So no matter what she thinks, and no matter what I think about her, we have two different paths. And we love each other still. But let's don't talk about spirituality, okay? Otherwise, is a mess, you know? So we understood this. So when you understand that a person is, it has a different process than yours, that is not wrong, because I'm not in the right path, and I'm not considering anyone in the right or the wrong path. Each one of us has its own path. That is the one you choose, whatever you choose, but you need to choose it.
Bella, we
I
have
think
so
that's
much.
a really valuable discussion because, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Like we believe what we believe in, you know, people that we care about, we want. We're looking out for what we feel is their best interest by sharing some information. I'm sure we've all done it. And yet the bottom line is I also don't want them to change my mind about certain things. So it's this thing about live and let live. And I feel fortunate that even though all of my family members, you know, have gotten shots and stuff, and I have not, that we, you know, we just accept each other. And yet their families and friends, that's not the case. You know, where families have been separated and cut off because, you know, the two sides feel so strongly. And so I think we have to pick our battles and say, you know, live and let live. Like, as you say, walk your own path
Right.
with integrity and do the best, because also today's truth may not be tomorrow's truth. And I know I've changed my minds about a number of things because of this pandemic, but I also agree that I think it's a at a group consciousness level, it's a big awakening event is how I feel about it, that it's causing a lot of people that are being what I would call sleepwalking through life are now maybe waking up, starting to question some things, starting to possibly see things from a different paradigm, different perspective. So I see a lot of like silver linings, especially longer term to this pandemic.
Yes. So, you know, the challenge that humanity is facing on a greater scale, but also in our daily life, is to integrate harmoniously differences. That's the challenge. Because how can you project your wishes, your desire into somebody else's soul mission? How do you know that soul, what is, I mean, at what level of his path is on? Yes, you do not know. And this is the responsibility of humans, the free will we have. We need to use it to choose the best for ourselves and to free others to choose the best for themselves on their own. But by being connected, the connection, you know what the connection is? The connection is love. That's the connection. So we kept for the past 2 millennia, we've been spent the majority of our energy and of our time fighting each other through wars, through religion, you know, making diversity an issue. Diversity is not an issue. We are all unique beings with our own soul mission. So this is the greatest challenge we are facing. And we've seen it very clearly during the pandemic. You know, also me, I would never get a shot of that vaccine, of any vaccine, never, ever. But, you know, there's people, also people, Damanhurian people that have decided to do it. Okay. So my first reaction, the very first was, I cannot believe that. I mean, I was in anger and I was in pain at the same time because I couldn't believe that, you know, people belonging to the same spiritual path I'm doing could do such a thing. But this is a judgment. We also need to avoid all judgments. And that's why Damanhur is an alchemical place, because in spite of our differences, you know, here there's 600 people living its own reality, its own universe, although we're following the same spiritual path, okay? So, and to be able on a daily basis by living with people to accept with love, you know, also, yes, Alessandra, I see you that you are laughing a lot. But when you are in that, you know, in those occasions, you know, sometimes you would like to run away from people that they're not like you, that they do not think like you, that they, you know, decided to do such a thing that for me, you know, to get the vaccine, it could be compared to deciding to die, you know, earlier. So how could I cope with that? That was the first feeling. But then the strength, you know, that a community, a group of people can create despite differences is the manifestation of a higher consciousness, of an expressed love, that spiritual love that we need to learn to manifest. That is not the love that you feel towards the people that they are we normally, you know, love more people that are responding to what we project on them. If they do what we want, we love them. If they do what we don't want, we do not love them. This has nothing to do with spirituality. Spirituality is indifferent love. To love all the souls on this planet, you know, no matter what, and you yourself working towards your, I mean, the path you've been decided to undergo, and to let go. I mean, if people don't understand you, fine. Because whenever you fight against, you are losing the precious energy that you can invest in your spiritual process. You are losing it, giving strength to others. By convincing others, by arguing with others, you are losing energy by doing this constantly. So those are very practical tools that I do not teach in the alchemy school. No, because the alchemy school, I mean, touches, you know, many fields of knowledge and is really vast. But because I'm in love with inner transformation and how to manifest it very practically in my daily life, I work a lot on my state of consciousnesses, of my emotions, on my actions, reactions. I mean, I'm working a lot with these tools, inner alchemy transformation.
So
Well, I've got a question for you is, does it depend on your, on why you're doing something? So for example, you're saying fighting against something is losing energy. But I've read a book, I don't know if you've heard of it, called The Psychology of Totalitarianism. It's really the psychology of mass formation psychosis. And it's written by a wonderful author from Belgium. And one of the things he says is the atrocities begin when the dissidents' voices are silenced. And so I, in my soul and heart, I feel that speaking up is actually for the benefit of the world. And I'm doing it with such a positive intention, but it is fighting against a mass formation. It will burn itself out, but it is still current and it still needs the dissident voice.
I mean, to speak up is very good. I mean, to speak up for what you believe in is great.
But
So,
it's easy for me to, I went through some pretty big lows. It would be much easier for me to choose to transform my fears into other things that are more positive for me. But I choose to speak up despite what I may receive in return, because I'm doing it out of love.
but you use the magical word, you made a choice.
Right, but it's not the easiest choice.
I know, I can believe it, that is not an easy choice, but whenever you choose and whatever you choose, you just take responsibility for what you have chosen. And it depends on your goals in life. I mean, it depends on your mission. So if you feel that that is your mission, I mean, it's fine. I don't understand maybe what you mean by saying fight against.
I've been taking notes on my phone.
Yeah.
Then I read them more often. And, you talked about how you love people more who reflect our own beliefs, but spirituality is about loving all souls, and fighting against something is about losing your own energy and power. Those are things I wrote down. It may not accurately reflect exactly what you said, but what I thought about is, I have a choice. Is it to transform the fighting against, or is it to continue speaking out because the basis of that is love?
Is both.
Humanity.
So it's both. Whatever we choose to do is consciously or less consciously something that we choose to grow ourselves. I mean, to spiritually grow. And whenever you notice something outside of you, of a person, for example, that you don't like, let's say an aspect that you see on a person that you do not really like, you are able to see it because you contain it. And see, otherwise you wouldn't see it. And if you see it, it means that it's there to teach you something. But when you fight something, like, for example, you see that aspect in the person, but you do not recognize to yourself that within you, there's the same part that you haven't seen. Basically, fighting against something outside of you is fighting against within you. So
wait, because she's if you're fighting for a cause and a belief, and so you're going to protest or you're going to court or those kinds of things, and you're doing it because it feels like the right thing for you to do, like Debbie was saying, is that still a reflection of what's going on inside of you, or is that because you're saying that it is still a reflection of the battle inside?
Well, now I was referring to a specific part of a person that you might see. I was not referring to battle in court, but what I want to tell you is that the universe we perceive, the reality we perceive, is the exact reflection of what we contain within us. The universe we perceive is the universe we have within. So also the constant need to fight something outside of you is the reflection of something that you need to welcome within you, that you maybe don't need to fight. Because if you change that aspect within you, you might approach to the same situation differently. So you're not the events that we are experiencing. They might be perceived, the same event might be perceived differently by different persons. So it's not the event in itself that creates your reaction, but is what you contain within. I don't know if I'm understandable, but if not, I will leave you with this doubt and with this big question, because it's 10 o'clock. And we can possibly continue, but I would need to give you some, I would need to share with you some principles before stepping into this kind of, things. Because I've started by talking about Damanhur, the creation of Damanhur, Falco, and then many different things. So each thing you are saying, I mean, it opens up to a universe in itself. So we can have Alessandra. What do you say? What do you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I would like to maybe give everybody a moment to sort of say a few words. I think what stood out for me is, because we already have this beautiful group, how can we continue to bring new elements into what we're doing when we're connecting, that can and make us even more potent and more supportive of one another, and help us to reach higher levels of understanding. So that could be something maybe you can design for us with all the tools that you have in Alchemy, to maybe enhance this aspect, because we already have it. It's something we can build on. So that's, what I'm getting. And then maybe all of you guys in order here, Eva and then Elizabeth, just say a couple of words.
Yes, please.
Well, I loved today's session. I think of all the people that have spoken from Damanhur, this was the best session I've been to. I really appreciate your input today, and I think I learned quite a bit. So I would like to continue.
I have to say that I found this really valuable, and I will comment, and this is for years what my role in life has been, event management. And I would say that always it's when you get into the discussion that you get the most meaningful part of it's when you get to the heart of the matter and it's most meaningful. So our discussion has been really informative and valuable, and I would love to carry on the conversation because I think this is meaty and there's lots to be learned. Do you want to go? Do you want to say something?
Yeah.
No, I'm done.
I found it very, very interesting. And I do wonder sometimes, I feel like probably all of us in our daily lives do experience some magic sometimes, like some beautiful connections or beautiful experiences every day. And sometimes I think it would be so nice to share them, just to hear, and maybe it would help us recognize that we too experience it. It's just sometimes we don't realize it.
Yes.
So thank you. It was really, really nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'd be interested in knowing more about moving forward. I'm going to be starting a course that's going to take a lot of my time, but I'm sure I can manage it. So if I knew more about the timing, I could make a decision, but I'm definitely interested. And I know I was in and out of the frame, but I was dealing with a lot of stuff, but I had you on full blast. So I heard every word you said. I didn't miss anything. So yeah, I'd be interested as well.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you. I'd heard about Damanhur, and this is my first exposure to actually, I've spoken with Alessandra a little about it, and I had planned to go and visit it with Max right as COVID hit. So it's great to speak with you and see your beautiful energy and interpretation, and it is one that is different than any kind of advice I'm getting elsewhere. So I do like it very much, and I would be happy to move forward. And also, Tammy, every time I spend time with you, you are so beautiful with your energy. It just lights up even.
So what I want to, well, I can offer only a group work. I'm telling you this because by sharing, by doing a group that learn new things, but also experience things and share together, we can really multiply the energy to support everybody's process. And so that's what I feel, what I feel. So we can think about it. I can talk with Alessandra. You can share with her, I mean, whatever you would like to go deeper into or to undergo. But me personally, as I'm very practical, I always combine theory and practice. That means to practice, I mean, to find the time to put into practice something that makes you step outside of the habit of being who you are. Because otherwise, if we do not break the way we think normally, it's impossible. and we learn, I mean, the way I teach is learning through experiences more than words, more than theoretical knowledge. So that's my way. So if you enjoy that, I can be available to shape something. And if you're willing to, to go deeper within yourself and to share that depth with the group. And me too, I'm involved, of course. I'm not outside of it. I'm involved too.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Goura, thank you. I didn't know how it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a presentation. It's always a discovery,
Well, I go, where you take me.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say, give us the courses, magic wands and sticks and capes, like let's do. But yeah, that was like, it's like, okay.
Alessandra.
Alessandra.
Yes, I want to tell you that I've been dealing with alchemy for the past 15 years. So there's tons of things of alchemy that you can learn, but you cannot do it in 1.5 hours.
Right.
Alessandra, it's not possible. Because when I tell you something, then when I give you something to do, I'm expecting you to do it and then to share what you gain with the group and with me. Otherwise, is useless. So if you want to do something different, if you want to exercise, if you want to practice something to gain a different perception of yourself, I'm willing to do that and to support this process. But it requires some time.
Well, you've been very gracious. Thank you for these 2 hours.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. That was beautiful.
You're very welcome. And I was very happy to be with you tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for spending
Thank
this.
you. That was beautiful.
And
Thank you so much.
so we'll
Sleep
digest
well.
all
Yes.
this.
And we'll see how it grows, if it grows. And no matter what, it's beautiful. You are beautiful.
I told you
And
they
so
were
are
very
you.
special. You told you we were very special souls.
Alessandra, can we stay on with you for just a minute after?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Bellezza.
Goura, thank you so
Good
very
night.
much.
Thank you, my
Sleep
dear.
well.
Blessings.
All the best to
Ciao,
everyone.
Bella.
And see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Sleep well.
Hey, there we are. Let me get my notepad. Hold on.
It almost looks like Alessandra
Goura,
says black and white.
if Alessandra's hosting this, I think you can leave.
Okay.
Yeah. So you should be fine to go.
Yeah, you can go to bed now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Sleep
go.
well.
Yes.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Bye. Borma. So
Bye.
it's beautiful. It's, he completely went in another direction, but it's okay. You
There
never
she is.
know. You never know with these Damanhurians. Like, okay. So I was expecting more of an exploration of the courses, but it looks like there's probably more of a depth here than I was thinking we were going to get into. Yeah, but now please tell me what you think. I'm disoriented because it's not what I was expecting, but go ahead.
It was great.
Well, and I really like what she said at the end, that she would basically give us things to do and to explore. And then to me, that sounds like she could give us ideas and even maybe some practical steps to take. And then we would explore and we could come back and share our experiences of what we tried or so I like that. And I love the idea of sharing, but I'm wondering, can we invite others? And
Yeah.
how do we compensate her for her time? Those were my thoughts.
Yeah, so it would be a course. So I don't know. Yeah. So those are all things we can talk about. Yeah, it would be structured in a way. Yeah, we have to compensate her. We can't just have her be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would be. But it's
in a perfect world, we'd like to go there and do the course in person.
My gosh, that's my dream. Listen, let's see. That's what I was doing. Eva came with me on one of the trips. I was bringing small groups and we would immerse ourselves in a 10-day experience with courses, the temple, and all of this. But without everything that's going on, I think for me, it's much more. Sorry, guys, I'm just feeding little kitty cats that are.
It's not realistic to do it in person right now.
Well, we can definitely, but I do think getting a taste of what's available and getting a little bit in sync with these ideas that they have is better, to get a little bit more of experience. Because Eva, I think before you went, I had done some presentation, you had done some work with me before, and then we had gone. after that. So, I mean, I'd love to go in the spring or in the summer if it's possible. If you guys want to go and we can design something. But I think there's a lot of, I was very surprised. Okay, I really was expecting her to give us a few courses, but yeah. So before I say anything else, Deb, do you want to say something? And Eva, do you guys want to? Let me just.
Well, I loved what she did.